Hey guys, in this video I'm going to talk about a subject that actually meant a lot to my success and I think can impact a lot of people because it's a common question of whether you actually need a mentor to succeed, whether you should seek somebody out to mentor you. And I believe the short answer to that is no, because I actually did a lot better in my business when I stopped listening to I guess you would call a mentor. And that person was the closest thing I had to a business mentor. And actually, they were the ones that held me back in the first place. And I actually started succeeding right after cutting ties with that person. So you see a lot of quotes all over the place about mentorship and you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with and all this type of stuff. And really, it's a lot of BS out there because I've literally done it without a mentor, and I'm going to kind of explain why it worked out for me and what you can do so you don't have to kind of do things the hard way like I did. But you see all these quotes out here, like you have like this Oprah Winfrey quote that's all over the place. It's like a mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself and all of this kind of stuff, which it sounds great, but it's really not necessarily true because a mentor has to be very much aligned with what you want to do. A mentor might be a multimillionaire, but they might drop off. They might have just gotten lucky. They might be in an industry that really doesn't help you at all. Like here's a quick idea of why it didn't really work for me when I had a mentor. So you have me, okay, and then you have this mentor. So basically, he had all the money. He was working from home. He had he had the Ferraris. He had he had pretty much everything. He had the big house in a really nice neighborhood, and he was working from home all the time. That's literally exactly what I wanted. So then he tells me to get in on this business deal, spend about, $5,000 or so to get in on this deal. And of course, he's going to mentor me and someone else who was a friend, and we were going to, learn exactly what he does. Well, then he basically tells us that we have to call people all the time, do all this cold calling stuff, telemarketing, MLM type of stuff, which I never knew anything about. So as a lot of those things go with MLM, with telemarketing, this stuff is just not as effective today as it used to be. There's a lot of bad reps about these types of companies. Now, some of them do work. Some MLMs are actually making money, but you have to be very careful of the company. You have to be very careful not to mislead people. You have to do things the right way. And still, a lot of these companies that kind of dabble in the MLM type stuff like Herbalife and Avon and Mary Kay, they have a lot of people that make money, but most people don't, which is true for every business. But the thing is, a lot of the people who recruit people to those types of companies mislead people really badly. So only the ones that's why they call it a pyramid, is because usually it's the person at the top that makes all the money, and everybody else is just kind of there, spending money but not making money. So that's basically what happened with me. And then when I kind of cut ties with that person and I went on my own, you can see kind of an example of what happened with my income. So I literally went from basically, making no money, like $100 a month maybe for a couple of years, And that was starting in like 2013. And then I pretty much cut ties and started doing my own thing in 2016. So late 2016, I started doing YouTube. I thought it fit more with my personality and those types of things. And so you see that towards the end of 2016, I went up and my income went way higher, and I was actually able to start supporting myself in late 2016. So the thing about it is, what I did is I cut ties with the mentor and did things my own way. You know yourself better than anyone else does. And all you got to do is find people who are doing what you want to do and consume the right content. So, for instance, you want to, say, start a podcast or learn about internet business and stuff. I always admired Tim Ferriss. And so I started reading, the 4-Hour Work Week. I started listening to his podcast. It's basically all about, it's really just about your influence. Okay, so if I was to break it, it's about the people that you're influenced by. So who's influencing you? You do not have to see these people in real life, okay? You don't have to be friends with these people. You don't need somebody to personally call you on the phone and mentor you. You do not need to have lunch with some millionaire every Thursday. You don't have to do stuff like that. That's what a lot of people tell you. But you basically can just be influenced positively by the people who have what you want to do. And there's an unlimited amount of information out there. So like a few of mine, like Tim Ferriss, you could follow him on YouTube, The Tim Ferriss Show, on any podcast platform. You have stuff like Smart Passive Income. Now, this is just for my example because I wanted to have my own internet business. These were people that I could learn from, and they did interviews with other people that I could learn from. And then another one was Entrepreneur on Fire. So I'm very grateful to these different types of brands. And in fact, I strive to be like them in my own original way. But then you also want to be reading books. Now you have books like Think and Grow Rich. That was one of the best ones I read. It was recommended by a lot of the interviewees that were in these podcasts and stuff. Another one was The Power of Habit. Now, this might not be quite as well known as Think and Grow Rich or something like that, but The Power of Habit was another one that really helped me. I listened to the audiobook, and it really changed a lot of how I thought about my own psychology. So you really have to learn your own psychology. You need to figure out what kind of person you are. So what makes you you? Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? That's another thing. I'm an introvert. I'm not an extrovert. I don't like calling people on the phone that I don't know. I don't like having to be a consultant with people and go to businesses and help them and stuff like that. Now, I've built my education up, I've been building a brand up, but I choose to do things like passive income on the internet because it's less work for me mentally as an introvert. So if you're an extrovert, you shouldn't be having, someone, or if you're an introvert, you shouldn't be having someone trying to teach you and force you to be an extrovert, which is one thing that person didn't really realize that was trying to mentor me. Another thing you can do is use something like Twitter. Now, you can go on Twitter, and I actually have a Twitter, and a lot of the people I follow, you'll notice I've actually been unfollowing a lot of people over the last couple of years because I'm trying to follow more people that are just positive influences that I actually learn something from, instead of people who just post pictures of their dogs and complain about politics and stuff like that. So that's another thing. Your social media can be very good, and there's a lot of people talking about how bad social media is now, and it is, but if you use it the right way, it can actually help you a lot. And another tool I like is Feedly. Now, if you like reading blog posts, which I also do, Feedly is a really good tool I've come across. It's actually free. You can get a paid version, but a free version of Feedly can still allow you to pretty much get, like you get Google News or Yahoo News or something. If you use Google Chrome on your phone or something, you probably get these Google News articles that come up. So you could use something like Feedly instead. Instead of Google trying to tell you what you should read, you could use something like Feedly and actually go through the top blogs that actually have a positive influence, that actually have, owners that are like you, that have businesses that you like, that interest you, and follow them only and get daily updates on what they're talking about and read their content instead of reading just entertainment stuff and politics and stuff like that probably won't help you a whole lot. Not saying you shouldn't read any of that stuff. I'm just saying you want to have as much of a positive, productive influence in your life as possible. So again, this is just YouTube income, but when I dropped the mentor that really didn't know how to mentor, my income went a lot higher because I knew myself better. So just a few things that I would recommend you do other than just being influenced by all the right sources and finding people that you need to do. I would go through this 5-step process, and I kind of figured this out recently that, and kind of whittled this down to a five-step thing of like what I did, struggling and finally figuring out how to support myself as an entrepreneur. One thing, what are you good at? Figure out what you're good at. Figure out what you naturally have talents at. You can't just do what you're passionate about because you might not be good at it. If you're not good at it, you're going to be really at a disadvantage trying to build a business or trying to get a career out of it. What do you enjoy? Obviously, that's your passion and all that. And everybody talks about how you should be passionate about what you're doing, and you should, but you should also be good at it. You need to have those combined. Otherwise, you're not going to be doing very well. You're going to be struggling. You're going to be basically at a disadvantage in that industry forever because the other people succeeding in that industry have more talent naturally maybe in that area. Number 3, income potential. Don't just do something because you like it and you're good at it, but do it in a way that has a lot of income potential. That's what's great about passive income and stuff like that. That's why I did it. I like it. I'm naturally a pretty analytical person, and it fits my personality as more of an introvert, and I can do it from home. I've always wanted to work from home. Plus, the income potential, there's no limit. A lot of bloggers and stuff, you look at like, say, Entrepreneur on Fire. Look at them. You see in the top right corner, they have, $199,000 in the last month. They actually published their earnings. Now, Smart Passive Income used to do that, and obviously Tim Ferriss is worth millions of dollars. He doesn't say exactly, but people like that have more than enough money than I could ever want. I'm not trying to be a billionaire. Number 4, work at it as much as possible without quitting. So another thing is you have the 10,000 hour rule. So if you're wondering how a lot of people fail, even though they work at it, and they just get burnt out and quit. Usually they're just not good at it, they're not passionate about it, or they haven't put in enough work at it before quitting. So Malcolm Gladwell did this book called Outliers, pretty much the only decent book I read in high school. But Outliers actually teaches you that you need about 10,000 hours or so. This is from Malcolm Gladwell, a very highly very elite journalist and writer. But 10,000 hour rule basically says that once you've put in around 10,000 hours of work and experience into something, you've kind of become more of a master of that thing. So, if you were to do 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, that's about 40 hours a week, of course. And then you have about 5 years of that. That's if you never take a vacation or anything. Obviously, it's longer, but that's about 5 years of 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, working at a particular skill or job or business that it would take for you to finally kind of master that and be very good at it to really make an impact. So Another thing, you have to put in that 10,000 hours or more. Of course, once you get beyond that, you become more elite. Once you get to 20,000 hours and more. And number 5, learn everything you can about the industry. So you should always be reading more. You should be influenced by positive people on social media. So if you are on Instagram, if you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, follow the right people. Don't follow just people that, complain all the time, talk about their crummy relationships. Follow people that will teach you something. Try to learn something every day that's going to help that particular thing you're trying to do for a business or career. So those are the 5 things I would say you should do. I would say don't try to seek out a mentor. If one comes along and they are perfect for you and you just know it, go for it. But you don't need one. I did a lot better without one. I showed you a little bit of my story, and do what works based on what you're good at, what you enjoy, income potential, and your personality, and just know yourself and follow the right people, and you'll do great. So other than that, you can check out the playlist after this for more videos. I'll be posting more to this playlist in the future. Hopefully you like this type of video. Let me know in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you there, and I'll see you in the next video.